Thank you so much for joining us today. Listen, we are just so excited. We wanted to take some time to just share with you a little bit about Women with Grit. What is the story behind it? How do we get started with it? You know, I've got partner in crime here, Lee Willette.
Hey, what's going on?
And I'm Sherelle Lands, and we're just so excited about this concept called Women with Grit, where we interview just exceptional women within the community and around the world who are doing phenomenal things. So how do we get started with this concept, Lee?
Well, I think ultimately it was a reaction to COVID. We were literally working on a different concept that involved women and really helping women have the opportunities to progress in their careers, and we're really putting something together to do that. And we had all these people lined up to interview and to get information from, and COVID happened. And so
that changed life for everyone.
It did, and so for us, we were talking one day, and so we were talking about what we're doing, and I said, I'm thinking about doing this podcast, and I'm thinking about doing this, and you said, okay, let's do it. And so Women with Grit came.
There it is. Big on execution, we make it happen.
Yes, so it's been exciting.
Yes, it has. We've had just phenomenal guests even over the last year, and looking forward to all that's coming ahead. So how can they reach us?
They can reach us on YouTube, Exceptional Women with Grit. You can subscribe to our page. You can check out our Facebook page, Women with Grit, or you can go to our website, womenwithgrit.com.
That's it.
And the best way to catch us is Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Central Time, when Sherelle and I are live with our guests. And literally, I think the most exciting thing for me is what we talked about. We wanted to have a program that addressed that brought in women from around the world. So that's our globe here. We literally interview people in Bogota, Colombia, over in London, and then all over the United States as well. So that's been exciting. That's one of the benefits of COVID. Everybody's used to this virtual world, and nobody feels like they have to fly in to be live in the studio.
That's right. So hopefully you will join us live or catch the replay, right?
The replays, that's right. We have a bunch of replays, and I mean, if I were you, I would binge listen. People binge watch on Netflix, binge listen and watch Women with Grit. There have been some phenomenal interviews and some phenomenal tips that will help anyone. We have men and women that watch.
That's right.
And I think the tips that you get, the things that you learn from these women that are our guests will help anyone advance their careers, advance their lives, and just really live a full life and a happy life. And I think that's exciting.
Yes, I would agree 100%. So if you're interested, definitely join us, follow us, engage with us, like us, share it, all of those things. And if you know a phenomenal woman or a woman with grit that you would recommend being on the show, be sure that you write us on any one of those forums, and a member of our team will get back to you.
Yes. And don't forget, if you have a product or service, a company that you want to promote or a cause, give us a shout. We're happy to do that. There is a cost. But it's not much, not yet. So you better get in while it's cheap.
That's right. That's right. Well, thank you. And so far, we'll see you online.
Talk to you later. Peace.
Bye.
Hey.
Hey, Lee, how are you?
I'm great, thanks. How are you, Sherelle?
Good, but before we go any further, guys, guess who just celebrated a birthday?
Who's that?
You. Happy belated birthday, Lee. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. We won't sing the song. I'll spare you of the vote.
Thank you.
Thank
you. Thank you. Yep, I had a good one. So all of them are good. Everybody doesn't make it. So it's
that's true.
It's a blessing to have made it to this next one. And it's been great.
Well, hopefully this ride around the sun will be an exceptional one for you as well. So
yeah, I've enjoyed every last one of them, and expect to do the same this year. So I'm looking forward to what God has for me in 2022 through June 20th, 2023 and beyond.
There you go.
Keep that together.
Keep that in there.
Keep that in there. Yep. Beyond that. I'm not stopping it.
I know that's right.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. So, how have you been? We've been missing each other.
I know. Been traveling quite a bit and continuing to do so. I leave out again tomorrow, and I
Okay,
will be around the robin and likely outside of the country for a little bit, and
okay.
then we'll see what happens from there. But yeah, things have been good. Right, ripping and a running, trying to figure out this year thing. But yeah.
It's all good. Yep, yeah. Well, same here. I haven't been traveling as much as you, but had some travel in and things with the kids and everything. So we're on track for a minute.
Fantastic. Well, I'm so excited about tonight's guest.
Yes.
We have Miss Karen Johnson. But before we jump into Karen, would love to invite everyone in. Grab your beverage of choice, grab a snack. Come on in the room because we have another amazing guest this evening that you all do not want to miss. Okay, we have Miss Karen Johnson, who is the Register of Deeds for Nashville County, and I'll tell you guys a little bit more about her. But before I do, Lee, any shout outs or what we call big ups in the islands?
Oh, nothing major that comes to mind. I think that, well, I do want to shout out my 8-year-old. He's taking the track world by storm. He's had
Okay.
his first year running track, and he over the weekend came in first in the 800 at a track meet in Alabama. He's
Awesome.
qualified to go to, I guess it's the AAU qualifiers or something like that, and then in Knoxville in a few weeks. And once he wins there, he'll qualify for the Junior Olympics, which will be held at his big brother's school,
Wow.
North Carolina A&T. And
That is
so,
fantastic.
yep. So he's doing that. And in fact, his big brother has a nice internship this summer. He's home, but he's interning at Deloitte, and he is the de facto track coach for his little brother, or at least he's his training assistant. So he makes sure he gets to practice and make sure he stretches before track
There
meets
you
and gets his water
go.
in. Yeah, all that big brother stuff.
See,
So
that's so awesome,
yeah,
to
yeah,
have that kind of support.
that's right. Yep. So he's got that, and that's Daryl, and then Lee's he's in college now, so he's in his third week at UConn.
How do
And
you feel about that?
excuse me.
How do you all feel about that? How do the parents feel about it?
We're excited for him. It's
Good.
it's definitely a transition for all of us, and
Very good.
one that I hope that all have an opportunity to experience. Of course, it's a transition, and I think most kids feel like they're ready to be out on their own, and then when they're out on their own, they're like, "Oh, nobody's cooking breakfast in the morning."
You realize the privilege.
Yep, I don't have a little brother jumping in my bed, so I think he got a little homesick. But overall, he's doing well. He's in classes and everything. So excited for him, and everything too. So how's
Fantastic.
your little guy?
Growing in leaps and bounds.
Okay,
Looking forward to the summer. Lee, he's maybe about 5'2", 5'3" now. He's shot
okay,
up and continuing to grow. So that's really fun. And he's getting involved in quite a few things. He started a business
okay. All
and
right.
we're working through that. And I'm teaching him just the ropes behind the fundamentals of business. So good.
Okay.
Things are going well. I think by the fall, we may be ready. That's what we're aiming to in terms of launching by the fall for him. So we'll see.
All right. Sounds
Yeah.
good. Well, I think we better go ahead and get started with this
Yes.
big time super politician, super
Hmm.
Nashville resident, servant
Hmm.
leader, register of deeds,
Oh my
one of the
goodness.
most successful politicians in our city, and I would say even in our state. I don't think she's lost a race. She may tell us something differently when she gets on, but
Yes.
none that I know of. She's been a school board member, council member, and she's always stood up for the community of Nashville, and more specifically Antioch, and making sure that it continues to grow and prospers. And so she's just a great proponent. I've seen her out picking up trash on the weekend by herself with a trash bag. So true servant leader, and she didn't have anybody posting her on social media when she was doing it. She was just getting it done.
See,
So
fantastic.
Yep. So let's bring in our Register of Deeds, Karen
Yes.
Johnson.
Well, I wanted to share a little bit about her bio for those
Okay.
who don't know Karen, and then we'll definitely bring her in. But you did an amazing job. I mean, what better person to introduce someone than you, Lee?
Ah,
So, Karen was elected in 2018 to the Nashville Davidson County Register of Deeds. Karen Johnson is the first African American and the first woman to serve in the position. I had to say that. She is known across Nashville as a driven worker for the community and a creative corporate thinker. A graduate of public schools, Karen earned a bachelor's degree in business administration at Tennessee State University and an MBA in management at Trevecca Navarrete University, all while raising two small boys and working full time. She is a certified public manager through the University of Tennessee Institute for Public Service and certified public administration through UT Institute for Public Service. In 2020, she completed the local government leadership program as well. In the professional arena, Karen's focus has been on human resources and records management. She has worked at the manager level and director levels for the state of Tennessee, HCA, Shoney's Inc., and Mercy Health Services. With a passion for public service, Karen was elected to 2 terms of Metro Council member for the District 29, serving as a chair for the Charter Revisions Committee and the vice chair of the Rules, Confirmations, and Public Elections Committee. She also served on the Budget and Finance, Public Works, and Traffic Parking committees. While on the council, she was instrumental in the creation of the Smith Springs Regional Community Center, which serves seniors and families. She also helps the Cane Ridge High School and the Smith Springs Elementary Schools possible. Working with veterans of the civil rights movement, Karen successfully helped champion the first completed civil rights art project for Nashville, located on the grounds of the historic Metro Council. She is a member of the Council of the Community Officials Association of Tennessee, called COAT, the Tennessee Registrars Association, the Property Records Industry Association, the Tennessee Land Title Association, the National Forum of Black Public Administrators, the International City County Management Association, a member board of the International Association of Government Officials, and a board member with the Sister Cities of Nashville. She is a proud member of Mount Zion Baptist Church, where she serves on the Ushers Ministry. She was named the Nashville Business Journal's Women of Influence, the Tennesseans 40 Under 40, and the Nashville Chamber's Emerging Leaders. She received the Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Tau Lambda Chapter Public Service Award, and she was honored by the Tennessee State University Foundation as a Woman of Legend and Merit in Government. She is also a Young Leaders Council graduate, class 39, and Leadership Nashville alum. She was nominated by the Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, Alpha Delta Omega chapter for the 2021 Traditional Athena Award. And under Karen's leadership, the David County Register of Deeds office was named one of the Nashville Business Journal's 2021 Best Places to Work based on a survey of employees. Her husband, David Johnson, served honorably as a United States Marines, and they have 3 sons, Jonathan, Christopher, and Dave, and 1 granddaughter and their French bulldog, Nala. Karen's children are graduates of the Metro Nashville Public Schools. Without further ado, we'll bring to the stage Miss Karen Johnson. Hi, Karen.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, it's like a mouthful.
You are a very accomplished woman. So we want to make sure.
Thank you. And I have to really think about that when people are trying to introduce me. I'm just going through, like Lee said, just doing things, not realizing all of that.
Yes.
But I am so honored to be a guest on your show this evening. When both of you reached out to me, I mean, I was in tears because I was like, oh my gosh, people want to hear something I have to say.
Yes, yes,
And
they do.
so I
Absolutely.
am very honored. Thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you for accepting our invitation,
Yes.
and thanks for all the service, all the work that you do for the community. Of course, we're church members, and we see each other all throughout the city at different times. But again, you're always serving the public and always looking out
Mhm.
for what's best for the city of Nashville. Whether it be popular or not popular, you do what you feel is best for the city. So I commend you on that.
Thank you. Um, Again, I'm nervous a little bit, but
Don't be nervous, yes.
um,
Conversation amongst friends. That's how we look at it.
That's it. That's it. That is it. That is it.
Yes.
So,
So we love to kick off the show by really, hearing from you. So the first question we typically ask is, tell us your unique story of grit. How did you get to where you are? And I know before we joined, we were talking a little bit backstage, and you mentioned that, even getting into the public space was not, or government wasn't even a space that was a part of what you were planning to do. So tell us more about you and tell us more about that.
thanks, Sherelle and Lee. I honestly did not envision myself in public service. It wasn't even on my radar. I was basically just one of those young people that was concerned about the conditions in my neighborhood. And how I got started was I had moved into a home that was a HUD home. And when I moved in the neighborhood, I noticed that the lots were unkept and the light poles were incorrectly positioned. It was a lot of issues.
Mhm.
And so I just started knocking on doors
Mm.
to ask people. We were all working class folks. I had two small babies, 11 months apart, and two boys, 11 months apart. And so I was just basically wanting to know what's going on. And all the while, I was building a career, getting out of school. So I was doing the typical things that most people do at a young age, which was you're trying to, yes, you had your children early, which I did. And
Mhm.
at the same time, trying to get my undergraduate degree, um, working on an internship. I had received a scholarship from the Society for Human Resource Management because I had reactivated a chapter at Tennessee State University and took it to national recognition. So I was in that realm.
Mhm.
But at the same time, you got to live. And
Yeah.
so when I was knocking on doors and asking people, well, what's going on?
Mhm.
To my surprise, people were just busy. They were concerned, but they didn't have the time to deal with it.
Right.
So I don't know what led me to do what I did, but I organized everybody. We met back up at an empty home at the front of the subdivision, and we ended up over a short period of time turning that neighborhood around. And News Channel 4 came out and interviewed me, and that was literally the start.
mm,
Mm.
wow.
And every community meeting thereafter, people want me to come, and
Hmm.
then I would be vocal, and it just happened from there, um, in being kind of propelled into this public service space. But it was really just by happenstance. It wasn't something that I had thought about or had thought I would be pursuing.
Mm.
Got it. Got it. Now people wish they could find an empty house in Nashville
Right.
or a
Times
HUD
were
home.
different then.
Yep, those days are long gone
Mhm.
for some
But
period
like
of
I
time.
told Sherelle before we got started, I thought my trajectory was corporate America.
Hmm.
That's kind of, I always looked at, um, the magazines for Ebony and
Hmm.
Black Enterprise and Jet
Yeah.
magazine. I grew up looking at that
Hmm.
and women who were trying to break the glass ceiling. And
Right.
so I was this young lady that wanted to be in that corner glass office one day on the jet for the company,
Gotcha.
um, wheeling and dealing and being in the boardrooms and the important rooms, making things happen and all the while also getting stock options. So
Ah,
that's
okay.
where I thought
Okay.
that I
Yeah,
would be.
God laughs.
And I ended up learning a lot though in that journey as well as the public service space.
Hmm.
And a lot of the things that I was involved in the community actually helped me
Hmm.
to be able to navigate the corporate space
Right.
successfully.
So speaking of that, now for quite a bit of time, the political offices that you held, whether it's school board or council, were kind of quasi part time. I mean, they
Mhm.
probably took up a lot more than part time, but you were still a full time corporate executive and working in HR at some of the major corporations here. How did you get your companies to support you, or how did you just, or did they, and you just figured out how to make it work where nobody felt like you weren't holding up your end of the bargain on your full-time gig? I mean, I think that's something that people, a lot of times people say, like you said earlier, people say they don't have time to do certain things, but they have a passion for it and they want to do it, and they have to figure out how to do it. So what did you figure out that would be, that you could pass on to others?
Well, I lost my parents at an early age, so I had a real challenge
Oh,
because
wow.
I didn't have parents to go to. Uh, hey, mom, dad, um, is this something I should do? To bounce things off.
Hmm.
And so I kind of had to figure out my way. And what I learned, Lee, was that no, it wasn't easy to do the public service component. Once in corporate, it's found out that you are in the political space, you tend to be marginalized or
Hmm.
held back because they don't want to be in the middle of political issues. And so if I had tried to continue to stay in corporate and do this, it would have been tremendously difficult to do
Hmm.
because being in corporate is very, very time consuming and high productivity. And so I was able to do that for a while, but the reality set in that in order for me to be within this public service space, I got to be there full time. So I left corporate and took a job with the state of Tennessee.
Mm.
And I actually could not get the job there. I had to test in into one of the lowest paying positions in the state. And from there, uh, again, all of the things I had learned in corporate were able to transfer and help me to move up within 6 months
Okay.
to human resources with the state. And then within 2 years, I was at director level. And
Gotcha.
so what I learned in corporate
Hmm.
really came in very, very helpful in my trajectory and moving up in this space.
Okay. Now, and then, so how does that parlay into what you're doing now? You're um, a municipal servant. You're running one of the larger departments in the city. Um, you hadn't necessarily been CEO of a company, but now you're kind of CEO of your of your area. Uh, how do you parlay that? And and after you talk about that, talk about what your office does, because I don't know that a lot of people know what the county
A
register of
lot
deeds
of
does.
people don't know. This office handles all of the revenue for the real estate transactions, both residential and commercial, that happen in this city.
Mm.
So a tremendous amount of money flows through the office, and you have to pay attention to detail, and you have to like dealing with records.
Mm.
You have to, understand that when you're king, accuracy is everything.
Okay.
because you're dealing with people's ownership. And so that has to be correct. When someone challenges you on ownership, you want to be able to rely upon the information that comes out of this office. But before you can get your keys to your home or granted ownership of property, um, the title company is kind of that last step of the process, and your mortgage company.
Hmm.
And so what happens is all of that paperwork that you signed, you're signing away your life.
Hmm.
That
Yes.
has to be officially recorded here before you can get your keys.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so that's why this office is also considered by the U.S. Department of Homeland Security as a critical infrastructure workforce. And so when the pandemic happened, we were unable to shut down. We
Ah,
had to keep going because we would stop real estate.
okay.
And so that's what we do.
Got it.
We keep real estate flowing in the city of Nashville.
Okay. And
Mm.
we know that Nashville is very hot and busy, so
It's booming.
It's booming.
Booming. Yes.
Transactions we get that come through here are mind-boggling how much
Mhm.
activity is happening in Nashville and how attractive this city is to both
Mhm.
investors and people who are wanting to move here and live here. So,
gotcha. So
Fantastic.
now, so as you think about your career,
mhm.
what do you hope that your sons and your granddaughter learn from watching you?
To persevere, even when there are challenges that you face throughout your career. I faced a lot of challenges. It wasn't
Right.
easy. You
Mhm.
face low pay. You face being looked over. You face not being considered good enough. When I took my second corporate job, which I was brought in to HCA by the late Phil Patton. I don't know if you know, he was best friends with Jack Bovender.
Okay.
And
Know that. I do know
and
that.
so he was original HCAer when they
Oh,
were,
wow.
I think, in what, Kentucky, Louisville.
Yeah, in Kentucky, in Louisville. Yeah. Okay.
And he saw me at a career fair. Spencer Wiggins, you know him as
I know
well.
Spencer. Yeah.
That's who I used to report to. He's senior vice president, along with Betty Marshall at Shoney.
Mm.
Okay.
And that's where I first started.
Oh, wow.
So Phil Patton saw something in me and asked me to come to HCA. I was 32 years old. I didn't know anything about HCA.
Hmm.
And I had been traveling the country with Shoney's as one of two diversity recruiters. And so when I went into HCA, um, what I learned really quickly was that my color of my skin
Hmm.
made some people nervous because he actually introduced me to all of the VPs. And I will never forget that one said to me that he would not hire me. And I said, why? And he said, because you don't have enough experience.
Mm.
Mm.
And so
Wow.
when someone tells you that at a young age, you're just kind of like just trying to get out here and prove that you have the abilities to be great and
Hmm.
good at what you do.
Right.
And so there's going to be times throughout your trajectory when people will say things to you
Wow.
or make assumptions
Hmm.
about your abilities, not giving you a chance at all. And so being a Black female, it has been really, really hard, both in corporate and both in state government,
Mhm.
to be able to navigate some of those um, experiences.
Mm.
Okay.
So when you think about your experiences and when you think about whether it be your careers, whether it be personal or professional, because that's a good point, right? There's the projections or the things that are projected against you or on you, but then there's also the beliefs or the internal beliefs that we have that radiate from within. So when you think about just your career and how you got to where you are, did you encounter any self-limiting beliefs And if so, what were they and how did you overcome them?
I became very self-conscious because you had to be you had to have a certain look.
Yeah.
And I'm very country when people really get to know me. So
Uh-huh.
it took some adjustment for me, um,
Mm-hmm.
because you do have to kind of be the part per se. And that was hard because when people talk today, especially young millennials, um, and people younger than them, when they talk about, I just want to be me, I just want to be myself. What you learn when you're trying to move throughout this career space is that there are perceptions,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to kind of assimilate, and you have to look the part. And so I've always had to traditionally look very traditional. Like
Mm-hmm.
now I have braids, and I would have never done
Mhm.
that
Right.
previously. And I've been able to grow and be confident in who I am and not have to adjust just to fit in and to be able to have a chance at being able to move up.
Mm. Wow. Yep. So,
And I don't know if I'm answering your question, but these are
Yeah,
like
yeah. No,
yeah,
I
no,
think
yeah,
honest,
most
and
people don't know that I've experienced a lot of that.
yeah, yeah. I appreciate you saying that because when I think and I reflect on my career, see, I went into engineering, and when I started my career, I had my afro, right, and I always led with my skill more so than my parents, and just the aspect of being able to command the space. And in doing that, you face adversity and you face different things. And then it becomes a choice as to how do you lean in or how to navigate that successfully. So you put it eloquently in terms of being able to be agile, and being able to know when and how to maneuver depending upon the environment that you're in. So I appreciate that. And I appreciate you sharing that as well.
Well,
One of
one
the
of the
things
things
that,
that helped was having somebody identify you as
Mhm,
having
mhm.
potential. And
mhm.
I didn't do
Yes,
it alone.
sponsor.
I did have people who
Uh-huh.
saw something in me, like Phil Patton. And
Mhm.
he would come and sit in my office. And I was literally the only African American in
Wow.
that
Yeah.
in that department at that time.
Mhm.
And I remember him coming to my office and saying, Karen, you know, I couldn't do what you're doing with the political
Mhm.
things that you do.
Mhm.
He said, you're strong. He said, it takes courage to be able to get out there and be within the political space all the while you have a family and this type of job. So he used to talk to me and encourage me and tell me all the positives of what I was doing, and that did help.
Mhm.
And that helped me to build more self-esteem.
Uh-huh.
And as I maneuvered from there onto my other positions, I was able to glean on the wisdom and the nuggets that he gave. And Spencer Wiggins, I'll never forget when I asked Spencer, should I get an MBA or should I get my SHRM certification? He said
Mhm.
MBA. I said, why? He said, because that's going to take you further. I
Mhm.
said, really? But I'm looking at people that have the certification and I'm thinking that's going to get me ahead. And HR, he
Right.
said, no, you need to go get the MBA. I said, okay. So, I mean, it was people that fed into me, that cared, that saw that I had the potential
So yeah.
to do well.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I listen. And I think that's something I would encourage young people to do is never be too big headed to learn. I don't know if
Mhm.
that makes any sense, but thinking you know everything.
Right.
uh, be a good study and a good listener. And that's what I learned to do. And then when you observe and listen and study, you're able to navigate.
Love it.
Yeah, for sure.
So Karen, we are, believe it or not, the halfway mark. A little bit past. It goes by so fast. It really does. So we'll pull you backstage and then we'll bring you back up. But before we do, I want to do just a quick version of this or that. And then we'll take you back. Lee, do you have a question for her before we go?
No, go ahead.
Okay. So I'm just going to give you a list of random topics and you just pick the first one that comes to your mind. It's called this or that.
Okay.
You ready? All right. Sweet or savory?
Savory.
Savory. Okay. Breakfast or dinner?
Breakfast.
Appetizer or dessert?
Dessert.
Pancake or waffle?
Waffle.
Pizza or calzone?
Pizza.
Pasta or ramen?
Pasta.
French or onion?
French.
Fries or onion rings?
Fries.
The last one is pie or cake.
Oh my gosh. Oh,
Or a little bit of both.
cake.
Cake.
But I like both.
Yeah, that's my
I'm a
own thing.
dessert eater.
Uh-oh.
I like sweets. Yes. Okay. Thank you, Karen. I'm going to pull you back and we'll be right back.
Okay.
Grab me some water or for a break, and we'll be back. No wine
Okay.
yet.
All right. Man, what an amazing time. Hey, Justin, are you still in? I think Justin's joining from South Korea. Are you down there still in South Korea?
Oh, wow. Hey, Justin. Thanks for joining us.
Yes. And to all those who are joining us, we're excited to have you all on. Feel free to grab a friend. Let them know that we are on Women with Grit, where we interview exceptional women around the world who are doing amazing things in their community and in their space. And tonight we have no shortage of that with Karen Johnson. So if you don't know Karen, guys, you make sure that you look her up specifically, but then you got her right here. So feel free to bring any questions that you have, and we'll be sure to get them on screen for you so she can answer them. Why wait until after the show or the week following, which we do see. We see a lot of people who join in the weeks that follow the show and come back with those questions. While you can do that, you can also do that while we have her live tonight. So thank you for joining. Hey, Sharonda out in the Nashville area. Thank you for tuning in. We're so excited to see you. Excited to have you on the show with Women with Grit. So what do you think, Lee? You also deal with a lot of real estate in the city of Nashville. I know you can echo that.
Yeah, I mean, and I've had to deal with Karen's office, and I must say that they're very professional.
Yeah.
And welcoming, so you don't feel like you're getting on anybody's nerves. It doesn't seem so bureaucratic in government, if you will, and I mean that in a positive way, because some places, when you go to some government offices, they just seem government office-y and bureaucratic, and this is the only way, and I'm just here until retirement. So her people really feel like they enjoy being at work and helping people out. So. And there's so many transactions going on within the city right now that she's definitely probably in this position in its busiest time ever. I would bet.
I could only imagine that, especially with the growth in the recent years. So. And namely, it was listed as, I think it was 2021, as I read in the bio, best places to work by the Nashville Business Journal.
Yeah. What about that?
Yeah.
Government employees don't typically vote their place to be the best place to work. So.
Yeah. But it's a testament of the leadership. So that's amazing.
It is.
So let's bring Karen back up as we move into the second segment. And again, to all of you who are joining in across all of our different feeds, which we have 4 or 5 of them going even now, feel free to leave any questions that you have for Karen, and we will be sure to bring them to her. Welcome back, Karen.
Hey, Karen. So Karen, what do you do for fun?
Oh my gosh. Me and my husband, we love going to the ocean.
Okay.
That is like everything to us. Oh my gosh. We're getting ready to go on a trip to Jamaica.
Okay.
But on our honeymoon, we went to St. Thomas, St. Croix, St. John. So we
Okay.
love
Mm.
anything islands. I hope to take my first international trip this fall
Okay.
to Italy.
Oh,
And
nice.
so I'm
Wonderful.
really super geeked
Okay. Yeah.
and excited, both me and him.
Okay.
But we love kicking back on the ocean. You put our room right there where the doors are open and we can hear the water.
Uh-huh.
That's everything to us.
That's what's
And
up.
I guess for fun, I just kick back, listen to. I love R&B.
Okay.
I grew up being giddy and excited about getting up and seeing Soul Train.
Okay.
So
So
pain, yes.
with Dawn
I
Cornelius.
wanted to actually be one of the dancers on Soul Train. Never did that,
Uh-oh.
Man.
but I did want to do it.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. I remember that.
You just gotta play it in your living room and just go ahead and get it going, you know?
Hmm.
Every Saturday morning, I'm serious. me and my
Yeah.
twin sister would get up. I have a twin. I'm
Okay.
Karen Yvette, and my twin is Sharon Yvonne.
Oh wow. Okay. I never knew you had a twin. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we were adopted at birth.
Oh wow. Okay.
So, with a loving mother and father,
Hmm.
the late Dr. Leotis Peterman from FIS, and my mother was at Hillsborough High School as
Okay.
life.
So you're born and raised in Nashville?
No, I'm actually originally from Montgomery, Alabama. That's why I'm
Okay.
country.
Okay.
I spent my times in the summer at Selma at the
Okay.
campgrounds. Went to historic First Baptist Church, North Ripley Street in Montgomery, Alabama.
Okay.
And when we moved here, Dr. Henry Ponder brought
Hmm.
my father here as Chief
Okay.
Financial Officer at FIS, and that's when we went
Ah.
to Nashville.
Okay. Gotcha.
Mhm.
And then you have some roots with First Baptist Church, Capitol Hill.
Yes, in fact, when you come in, the piano to the side has my mother's name on it.
Hmm.
In memory of her, she was
Oh, that's beautiful.
the pianist and organist.
Oh wow.
It was one of two
Okay.
at the church. And my father was a trustee and deacon. She was a deaconess.
Okay.
So yes, I
Gotcha.
love First Baptist Church, Capitol Hill. That's when we moved to Nashville. That was my church.
Okay.
Mm.
All right. Well, cool. Good history. Good history lesson
Yes.
there. All
Now,
right.
what would you say, or who, which I think it was great, you talked about the just different people who have sponsored you along the way, but who inspires you to stay in or be in the public service space?
I have to give all credit to Tom Cigaran,
Okay.
CEO. Well, that was his company he started,
Healthways.
Ways,
Yeah.
yes. And he's also one of the co-owners of the Predators.
Hmm.
But I love everything Tom Cigaran because he just really believes in me. And I would say the other person is Bill Purcell.
Okay.
Bill
Former
Purcell,
mayor.
yes, former Mayor Bill Purcell. When I first ran for office, he said, "We don't see young people interested in local government," because at that time there were no young people.
Okay.
There was a lot of people that had been in the council forever.
Right. Yeah.
And so when I was one of the top 40 under 40 for the Tennessean, they set up where we could meet with the mayor. And that's how I formed a friendship with Bill Purcell. And he is just a wealth of information.
Got it. That is cool. So, you've been fairly successful as a politician. And I mean, not just in winning the races, because that's step one, and winning them multiple times. But you've also helped others win races and run races. What's the one or two things that you tell anybody that you've decided you want to help? So obviously, if you're helping them, you believe in them. But what are the one or two things you tell them about running for office and serving, if they want for them to be successful?
the biggest thing is you have to be willing to sacrifice.
Mhm.
Being in the political space is very, very hard, because it's harder for us more so because it comes down to money
Mm.
and time.
Okay.
Money and time. So if you're working full time, um, it's hard.
Yeah.
And like I said, when I was navigating that space and trying to be involved in the community, there was a sacrifice that came with it. Meaning, you may not make as much money
Hmm.
as you had ultimately hoped you would, because you're going to not be elevated because people in the workspace are afraid of the connection to politics. And
Hmm.
so you have to go in this knowing that you're not going to um, all of a sudden just be so successful,
Okay.
and you're not going to get the top position.
Hmm.
More, you probably more than likely will not be picked for the top position simply um, because you're in this space.
Okay.
So you have to know that going in, that there's going to be a tremendous amount of sacrifice. I would have a big house by now,
Hmm.
a lot of money, being very, very comfortable.
Right.
But in the course of being elected, I've had to go into debt.
Mm.
So there's a sacrifice. But what drives me is I'm not in this now for personal gain.
Right.
I really want to see fundamental change, because in being in the political space, you see the disparities and the inequities.
Hmm.
And that fuels me because I come from a civil rights family of people,
Hmm. Right. Yeah.
people who were educators and who instilled in me and my twin sister to be very confident and strong, and to never allow anybody to determine your worth or
Okay.
what you ultimately accomplish. And so in politics, you learn real quick that people will try to um, say, well, this is a middle class neighborhood and they don't like this or they don't like that. But we want the same things that you see in Green Hills and
Right.
Bellmead and any other area of the city, up and
Hmm.
coming East Nashville, so forth, so on.
Right.
I believe that every area of Nashville can have the same quality of life.
Hmm.
And so that drives me to want to be in this space, because I want to see more equity.
Okay.
I love that. So Sharonda Scott has a question for you, and I'll put it up on the screen. She says, what would Karen say would be her greatest challenge and the best nugget to us that you learned from that challenge?
Wow. What would be my greatest challenge?
Mhm.
People putting people in the race to make sure that you don't win.
Wow.
That's that has been very, very, very hard, because somebody looks at you and they don't like you.
Hmm.
And so they want to make it hard for you. And so you have to have some thick skin, and you have to be willing to um, accept the fact that everybody is not going to like you. That's been my biggest challenge, because I love people and I want everybody to like me.
Hmm.
That is literally a weakness.
Wow.
And being in politics, I had to learn that everybody is not going to like me, which has been very, very hard. Because my old boss at HCA, he said to me when I was young, 32, he said that I was an idealist. I didn't know what he was talking about
Hmm.
when he said that to me. But as I got older, I figured out what he was trying to tell me. Karen, you see the good in everybody, and you want everybody to like you, and
Mhm.
you think everything is good, and like you in some little pie in the sky situation,
Mm.
uh, fairy tale.
Right.
But the reality is that everybody's just not going to, no matter what you do,
Mhm.
you can you can give them things, you can call them all the time, you can beg them, you can do a lot of things. You can, even if they ask you to do something, you complete it, they still won't like you. And you
Mhm.
wonder why, but I did this and I did that and I was really nice to them. That's a challenge. And being in politics, you can't do that.
Right.
In order to be successful, you've got to understand that you can be relational with everyone, but not have an expectation that they are to like you and want a relationship with you back
Mm.
as a friend. So
Phenomenal.
that's been the greatest challenge. So my nugget would be, don't be naive. Don't be an ideal. Well, you can still be idealistic and optimistic,
Right.
realistic from the standpoint of knowing that you do good and you help people as best you can, and always feel that what you do doesn't need to have something given to you in return.
Mm.
So I think that's the nugget that I would leave is, don't expect that. Do it because you want to do it, because you want to um, do right by people.
Okay.
That's truth.
That is. That's very, very true.
Yes.
Yeah.
On that note, when you think about core attributes to being successful that you could leave, whether it be for women and men, because we do have a lot of male followers as well, what would you say are some core attributes to being successful in life? We'll go there. We'll just do a broad one.
Have an inner desire of persevering, regardless of what circumstance you find yourself in. And I hope that makes sense. But having a deep desire and passion to do the best that you can, um, without expecting others to feel like you did well, if that makes, I don't know if I'm making sense, but what I'm
You're preaching.
basically saying is always follow your gut and follow what makes you um, not happy, but follow what makes you at the end of the day feel good, and something that allows you to be able to sleep and have peace. One of my greatest joys in life is just literally just waking up and being able to hear nature, to hear the birds and to see nature. I love planting flowers and getting outside, but just that, be
Mhm.
knowing that God's glory and all that's surrounding you, you're able to enjoy that to the fullest. And if you're able to get a good night's sleep and you feel good about what you do each and every day, and that you know you've given your best,
Mhm.
I think that ultimately um, is the best feeling.
Mm.
Awesome.
Powerful. Yep. Powerful. Powerful. Powerful.
And will help you to be successful. You
Mm.
will be successful because all of success is different for
Right.
everybody,
Yeah.
but it has to be something deep inside of you. And if you can't enjoy the simple things, then you'll never be happy,
Mm.
because things and people and what you do for others doesn't ultimately give you happiness.
Mhm.
Right.
You have to have an inner desire to do those things that make you feel good and that you're able to sleep at night, knowing that what you did doesn't harm anybody, but makes you feel good that you've done your best.
Mhm. If you were able to speak to your parents right now, what would you tell them that you got from them that's helped to to project you to where you are now?
Thank you, my mother and father, for being an example to me and my twin sister. I go by my mother and father's grave in Greenwood Cemetery regularly. I keep beautiful flowers on their grave because my parents gave me peace
Mm,
and happiness. I was a happy child, and I didn't grow up jealous of other people. I grew up around an atmosphere of neighbors in my neighborhood, Woodcrest Estate. See, I know even where I grew up because everybody there, we still keep in contact.
mm,
Um, I can name everybody: Ann Lancaster, Jamie, all these people. And
Mhm.
we're like brothers and sisters because we grew up and felt safe and loved.
Mhm.
And it's because my parents um, made sure that we were loved and that we were around an environment that was centered around church,
mhm.
family, and neighborhood. And for that, I'm eternally grateful to my mother and father. And also the fact that they instilled education in me and my sister, because they always told me no matter what anybody takes away from you, whether it be a job or anything, they can't take away your education. Always get your education because that's the one thing no one can ever take away from you. And so I'm forever indebted to my parents for that strong foundation. And I love you, mom and dad, Leotis and Lucy Peterman. And that's what I would say.
That's beautiful. It's beautiful. Well, it's hard for us to believe, but we have come to the end of Women with Grit for today. What we'd love for you to do, and first of all, thank you, Karen, for opening up yourself authentically and
Yes. Thank
talking
you.
to our listeners and talking to Sherelle and I. This has been phenomenal. I learned more about you after even knowing you all these years. Got a chance to learn more about you. But what? Give us a couple of parting words, and then Sherelle's going to do a summation of what we talked about, kind of the Cliff Notes version. But give our guests some parting words of
Well,
advice
I'm
or
going to
whatever
give
you
you
want to
some
say.
fun things, Lee.
Okay, let's do
Make
that.
sure you knew that.
Okay.
My favorite movies are The Sound of Music and It's a Wonderful Life. But
Okay.
go figure that.
I love the sound of music.
My favorite actress is Angela Bassett.
Okay.
Favorite singers are Diana Ross and Whitney Houston.
All right.
And my favorite actor, of course, is Denzel Washington, which my husband's like that.
Okay. All right. All right.
And I love R&B. So you strong women out there, listen to Strong as Glass. That's one of the songs I listen to regularly.
Mm.
Look Easy by Robin Thicke and Best of Me by Anthony Hamilton. Those are things that I listen to. And then gospel wise, Yolanda Adams,
Mhm.
Open My Heart, and BB and CC Winans Close to You.
All
Ooh,
right.
those are great ones. Have you heard of Daryl Coley?
No.
Ooh, okay.
Only if I hear the song.
I
I
will
didn't-
send you a song. It's called Second Chronicles. It's amazing, but I'll send it to you.
Okay. I thought you were
Okay.
about to sing it, Sherelle. No.
Listen, to thine own self be true. I love karaoke, but this is not the stage or the place for that.
We don't have to go karaoke, y'all.
I'm with it. You let me know when you're ready, Karen. I love karaoke. That is my pastime. So
I do too.
And Tanya Davis, Thurkill said to tell you hello,
I
Karen.
love you, Tanya. You are
When
awesome.
Sunday
Thank
comes,
you for
yes,
highlighting women.
You're welcome.
yes,
Your
yes, yes.
work is incredible. Thank you.
Yes, and she said also when Sunday comes. That's an amazing song. It's just it'll give you chills.
Uh-oh. So your first one was, what was it Tough as Glass?
Yeah, strong as glass.
Strong as Glass.
Hmm.
And then this last one is
Well, I left
when
with
Sunday comes.
gospel, which was "Open My Heart." That's mine, and actually my husband our favorite song. We went to
Okay.
see Yolanda Adams just recently.
Oh yeah, when she was
That's
here.
our
Okay.
favorite. And then I love CC Winans.
Okay.
Everything CC Winans.
Yeah. Yeah. It's cool to be able to see her around the city from time to time too. Yeah. Well, all right, Sherelle. We're a little bit
All
over,
right,
but thanks for everybody
that's
for indulging us.
okay. Yes, it's been an amazing time, Karen. So thank you, and thank you so much for sharing your transparent moments and aspirations as it relates to being a woman with grit. So we thank you for gracing the stage. As you were speaking, I took feverish notes about some of the things that you were saying. So I just want to share some of them and know that I've modified them such a bit that it'll work. So Karen said to seek opportunities to make changes and be bold enough to do something about it. So Karen talked about just how she got started in public service, and it was on knocking on doors. It was identifying a need and being bold enough to walk in it. Take initiative and be the one who doesn't just see the difference, but decides to be the difference. Commit to being committed. Find transferable learnings to help you in your trajectory. So regardless of where you are, the skills and the talents and the resources that you have can be applied right where you are or where you aspire to be. Persevere in the face of all obstacles. Remember that sometimes you have to be agile and be able to assimilate, to look the part in terms of where you're going and what you are aiming to do within your life. Be comfortable and find comfort in your own skin. Keep people in your corner that help you see the light within yourself, and keep people around you that help to inspire your growth. Remember, it is so important to listen and never be too big enough to learn, but be a good study. Be willing to sacrifice and know that what is important to you, and know what is important to you and why you're doing what you're doing. Because sometimes the trade off isn't just funds, right? It's about making sure that you are operating in that place of why. What drives you, and know what drives you and what motivates you. Be confident, be strong, and never allow anyone to determine your wealth. For you define your wealth for yourself. Have thick skin and be willing to accept that not everyone is going to subscribe to your brand or like you, and that's okay. Find the comfort in operating in your unique truth. Always feel that what you do doesn't necessarily mean that you should get something for doing it. Again, going back to being rooted in your why. Have an inner desire of persevering regardless of the circumstance. Have a deep desire to do your best and do what is best without feeling that someone else or something else should qualify it for you. Follow your gut and follow what makes you feel good at the end of the day. Follow what brings you peace. Rest at night knowing that you've done your best. And if you can't enjoy the simple things in life, you'll never be happy. But find those things that give you peace and be in it. So, thank you, Karen,
Thank
for just an
you.
amazing time.
Thank you.
Sharonda said snaps.
You did the synopsis, and that you hit the nail on the head.
All I did was listen and just,
Wow.
read
It's a special gift to be able to
Yes.
write that fast and then even have it make sense. So, and be able to
And I
read it.
did have some women. I know I had named 2 men, but I did have women mentors. So, I had named one Betty Marshall, and my other lady, her name escapes me right now, Lee, but she was seen over human resources for the state of Tennessee. You know what I'm talking about? Um,
Not top. Oh,
uh, Deborah Story.
yeah, Deborah Story. Yep.
Yes.
Deborah.
Okay.
Sometimes, we can't think as quick as we want to.
That's right. Yeah. But when you said, I knew who it was. And I just same
Yes.
That's okay.
So they have been tremendously helpful too. But thank you, Sherelle and Lee.
You're welcome. Thank you. I'm glad we were able to get on your books and have some time with you. I think our guests are are just thrilled to death to learn more about you and to learn from you. We'll have people watching this, for weeks and months to come. We get a lot of people that binge watch all of our shows, so don't be surprised if somebody comes up to you and says, "Hey, I saw you on Women with Grit." And it may be 6 weeks down the line. You're like, "Man, I did that." Yeah, but people.
Well, I'm glad you didn't say, "Well, Karen, you look like Diana Ross," which I love Diana Ross.
Uh-huh.
But most of the time when I'm on something, that's what people say to me.
Oh. We look
And
great.
that woman right there, you see, that's who I'm now looking up to.
Okay.
Michelle Obama.
Michelle Obama. That's right. Thanks, Sharonda, for the happy belated birthday. I had a great one
Happy
yesterday.
birthday.
Thank you.
Did you get my little GIF on your timeline?
I did. Yep. Thank you. I appreciate it. I should have responded. I think I did, or at least did a like on it. So,
Okay, I'm going to go check.
All right. Well, thanks again, Karen. This is phenomenal. You have a great evening. Sherelle, great to see you. All right. Love you
Have a
too.
wonderful one.
All right. And
We'll be here next week.
Yep. Signing off. All right. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.